Okay, thank you very much for the introduction and for inviting us. I don't have any paper, so I need to look here as well. Maybe I can I take it off? Okay. Yes, I gave the title of my the presentation, New Town Challenges from a Master Planner's Perspective. And I focus today especially on two challenges, on how to get the economy started and how to maintain sustainability after we leave, because, well, we only are involved in the master planning stage. It's not that we're constructing it now, as you said. Short introduction, our company, Royal Haskoning DHV. We are quite an old company, about 6,500 people work worldwide. I'm not an urban planner. I have a background in a business, and that may give me a different perspective on things. Kribi, Cameroon. To the left, you see where Kribi is located, within the red circle. It's south of the small town Kribi, a touristic place, and a bit to the north is the current seaport, Douala, which is completely crowded. So that is one reason why the country wants to create a new deep seaport to the south. Here you see the area. This area is about 260 square kilometers, which is the size of the city of Rotterdam and the port of Rotterdam, which is, yeah, you can see this kind of, well, twin city would be too much, but it's kind of an inspiration for the people in Kribi to create a city like the port of Rotterdam. It's a greenfield development. To the right, oh sorry, here on the top you see a picture of the situation 4 years ago, and in the bottom there is the situation today. The port has been realized by a Chinese contractor, but that to date is all that has been realized. The deep sea port. The project aims for creating an industrial zone for heavy, medium, and light industry, and a modern city for about 300,000 people. Which basically is the amount of people working in this industrial zone with their families. So the goal, and this is important, is to get the economy of Cameroon started. For now it's basically an agricultural economy. They have a lot of minerals that they can export and better even add value to before they export it. And that is the reason for the government to start this project. And for this project you need a deep seaport to export the minerals. But it would be good if in time, say if you create metals, that you also create more added value products there, like cars or things like this. And that is then the second step, so the medium and light industry, that is to create more jobs and add value. The management of the project is in hands of the central government, and the daily project was in the hands of our client, so what they called the operational unit of the deep sea port project. So I focus today on two challenges and innovations, which are more like a bit in the soft sector side. So the first one is, how do you get this economy started? Because it may sound easy, but I think in a lot of planning projects, the city planners plan an industrial zone, and that's it. They hope that companies will come by themselves. And the second step is, how do you create a society that can run that economy? Second challenge was on the sustainable principles. Of course, everybody wants a sustainable city, and we can put principles in a plan, but we tried to find ways for them to really embrace these sustainable principles. And that is basically what was our challenge. How can we keep these principles running after we left 2 years later? This project was, by the way, in the period of 2010 to 2013, so about 3 years ago. So how to get the economy started? This is an interesting picture of the economy 3 years ago. What you see here is a trade of fish, or barracudas, I think, that were caught in the sea probably some hours ago. And we passed these people, and in the middle you see our client. He wanted to buy these fish from these fish traders. This is the economy now, and it also shows, of course, that there is a big step from this towards an industrialized economy. So what I would like to set here is that an economy needs a town. An economy needs a society to run the economy, but also town needs an economy. And what is these are 4 principles that may seem quite simple, but they are very important. First one is money needs to flow to your town. If your town has money, many of the problems we talked about today can be solved easily. This means that you need companies in your town that export products outside of the town, because that way money flows to your town. And the people living in your town will spend a lot of money outside the town, especially on building materials in the beginning, on cars, etc. So if no money flows to your town will become very poor. And this is what you call in the economic theories, you call this the basic firms. Okay, the second is of course that salaries need to be paid to the workers in the town, because the profits from the companies usually flow to international companies outside outside the town. And that means you need an educated and skilled workforce. And this is not a very simple task as in the greenfield, like here in Kribi. The third one is maybe the most simple. The salaries need to be spent in town. I think that businesses, small businesses like food shops, car repair shops, they grow by themselves. So that will not be the problem. But you call these firms the non-basic firms. And of course, this way, incomes that are made in the basic firms are distributed among the people in the non-basic firms, so to the other people. And then the fourth one is, of course, you have to get the economy further than only the primary production process, and you need new companies to establish, like suppliers, companies that add more value, and spin-off companies. Now we have a model that we use for this, and I would like to share that with you. Basically what you see here in the center is you need to create a good regional business climate. And there are 4 main elements in this. You need a well-trained workforce, you need good infrastructure, you need good business locations, and incentives, like tax incentives or things like this. And if you have this, you create a good business climate, then basic firms it will be more easy for basic firms to come to your region. I think the previous presentation gave interesting examples of that, and it's very important. And if you have basic firms, then you will have employment and income. People can spend money with the non-basic firms, and this will lead to well-being and prosperity in your city. Now, what can government do about it? Because that is basically the bottom line question, and that is here in the bottom line. Education, you need to provide education to get the well-trained workforce. With physical planning and infrastructure, you can provide this infrastructure and provide good business locations. And you may need to create, if the national policies are not okay, you can create regional policies. And many times you see things as special economic zones, like in Shenzhen, or free zones, free trade zones. Basically, this is a simple model. You can make it more complicated, but these are the things that you can do. Now, what we did to, as I said, after 2 years we leave, we created this management strategy, and it's a bit too light, but it has the idea behind this. It's kind of an iconic model that we gave to our clients, and that can inspire them basically on a daily business to look at the important things that they will have to establish. So the critical success factors. It's in 4 phases. The first, oh sorry, I go too fast. First phase is what we call the initiate and attract phase, and here are some critical success factors mentioned that they will need to establish in order to attract businesses and create good circumstances. The second one is the program and planning phase, and you need to look at, say, environmental planning, physical planning, social quality planning. Here is the development phase, and here is the what we call the use and maintain phase. So in phases like this, maintenance of all the infrastructure is important, but as well making sure that the incomes from taxes, etc., flow to the community and give you enough money to establish new things or to do maintenance. But as I focused on the economy, how to get it started, in this case, in the model we put here, well, of course, the presence of port and infrastructure, which was already being realized at that time. Another one is that if you want a port to grow, a port city to grow, you need a well-organized hinterland. And this is often forgotten. Hinterland, basically, meaning stretches of rail, of road to the neighboring countries, allowing for trade. Excellent business climate. This is a difficult one. There is a lot of regulations, national regulations, etc., that are very difficult to change for people working at a port authority. And of course, the fourth one being a competent workforce that also have good living conditions and things like this. Yeah. So the second challenge was on how to have stakeholders embrace sustainability principles. Now, what we try to do is to involve them as much as possible in decision making on these principles. And we had many interesting workshops with about 50 to 100 people, varying from inhabitants to the highest minister involved. And we looked at what we called strategic choices. So these are basically options from a sustainability perspective. We made them choose between these options, but also discuss the consequences. And I'll give you a few examples to see what we mean. This is one very simple example about the way the region can be organized. We know that the international companies all want their own plot and their own jetty. But as you can see, this costs a lot of coastline, and there are like interesting grounds for turtles, etc., to where they lay their eggs. So what is better is to force the companies, and you really have to force them to create one port complex. And of course, then as we say, this is more freedom for the companies, that is positive, and this requires a strict government coordination. Do you accept that consequence? And they said yes. This is another one on social aspects. If you make it a more a compact region in the north, then you can leave the south for the pygmies that were living there. And also this choice was accepted. And this is another one that was very important. The companies all wanted to make their own road, their own infrastructure, which of course leads to a lot of roads and lots of infrastructure. You can also combine it. You have to force them to do this, but it saves a lot of nature. Well, this went very well. And what we did after that was, of course, we made a master plan. And as you can see, we fixed, but you've seen that before, I think also in Mark's presentation, you fix these main choices, like town and industry separated, this backbone of infrastructure, a good environmental zoning, space for water, you fix these in the plan. That is basically where we stopped. And also we explained some of the principles. This is on waste management. We explained some of the principles, quite schematic, for everybody to understand in the report. Okay, those were my 2 points. So basically the conclusions, we think that up front you can try and design the economy. That is maybe too much, but you can at least do a market study and try to provide the conditions that companies need so your town has an economy and makes money. And this will make life a lot easier. And we think that if you really involve stakeholders from low to high, then they really become champions of your process, and you can you take them seriously. This helps you in your maintaining this for the future. That was my presentation.